builds up to the excitement of what he's talking about. You know, everybody gets excited about Jesus if they know Jesus.
Yeah.
So if he's developing up to this and they cut out that part, they're like, you know, well, what made you do this? And then it jumps to him and he's like, I've been telling you, bro. Like, I've been telling you all this time. Like this. And everybody's just like, dang, he really is a nut. One thing I've always wondered about was the people that are watching this and not sharing it. What are they doing? Like, do you think they're taking anything away from it? You know what I'm asking? Like, you know, for those people that are out there, they're not liking, commenting, sharing it, none of it, but it's almost like behind the scenes they are. Do you think they're like taking something away from this? Or like, what do you think the motivation behind that is? Because we have a lot more views than we have, you know, engagement.
I think it's hard to say. I think that people are busy, and I think we live in a world where everything's so fast-paced that we jump in here, we get a little something here, we get a little something there. But, you know, I think we fail to realize that as we click the like and the share, especially the share, we're giving other people a chance to be ministered to. And so it's really important. I can't stress enough that, man, we appreciate all the likes and all the views.
Yeah.
Share. You got to share.
Absolutely.
Like we said before, you're doing your part, or a small part of the Great Commission. You're taking the gospel to the world. Yeah.
Big facts. Well, anyways, welcome to episode 10, where we're going to talk about something absolutely relevant to today, obviously, and that is going to be the big bomb drop of Kanye West.
Kanye. Yo, Chase, I'm going to let you finish, but Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
Okay. Well, before we get started, one thing I do want to mention is, hey, we got new merch. You probably can't really tell based on the lighting in here. We're going to get all that fixed eventually, you know, whatever. But I'm actually repping one of the hoodies now.
Very nice.
Obviously, we got that for the winter season. We just got a ton of the shirts and stuff in, so those are all going to be shipped out if you ordered one, or, you know, I'm going to bring it to you however we established that was going to work.
Yeah.
But I did order extras, obviously, because, you know, it's easier than waiting 2 weeks after everybody puts in an order.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited. Definitely hit us up. Again, it's $25 for a shirt, $20 for one of the Life to the Full tumblers. We got more of those coming in tomorrow, so those will be here tomorrow. That's really exciting.
Yeah, get the merch.
Get the merch, because it's going to really good causes. Another thing, actually, I forgot to mention is, you know, I was talking to Cody the other day, and what we're going to start doing is kind of putting together little things, kind of coordinating bigger group projects, you know, that people can get involved in directly. You know, so if you feel like, hey, I don't want to buy the merch or something, you can donate to whatever the cause is. For example, you know, clothing people and like homeless people in Louisville for the winter, you know, stuff like that. I actually had a lady message me that I'm kind of excited that might be a part of the Life to the Full team.
Awesome.
And she's going to really kind of just help coordinate those type of projects. You know, she's already doing stuff like that now with disaster relief.
Awesome.
So I thought that was super exciting.
That is exciting.
So
that's good stuff.
Having somebody that's able to manage that, kind of coordinate that while that takes a load off of me.
Yeah.
You know.
Got to operate in your gifting.
Exactly.
And that's not a gifting for me.
No.
Spreading the word, doing a little preaching, but there are areas where I just give it up to other people and let them operate in their gifting.
Exactly. Well, the big thing I want people to realize and to remember, we need a team.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just us. Anything we accomplish is not, you know, me. It's not Dad. It's not Cody. It's not the three of us, but it's literally the whole collective unit, even those behind the scenes. And we actually, a lot of people may or may not be shocked to hear this, depending on, I mean, you can tell the quality has room for improvement.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no one behind the scenes.
Right.
We need teamwork. If you feel like, you know, you want to come in and help behind the scenes any way possible or whatever, or that, you know, that might be a gifting that you have that you'd like to share. The big thing I want to kind of coordinate with this is that, for one, you'll get the credit.
Yep.
You know, like we're not going to hide that. We're not going to be like, this and that. But the big thing is if you feel like, okay, you have a gifting in video production, you have a gifting in kind of helping record these sessions, whatever it is, you may not be but with us for a season if that's how you feel. This may not be the big picture for you. So if it's not, I'm saying, but there's something like that field that you're interested in,
absolutely,
come join us. Join us. Let us help develop you in that, or at least give you the opportunity to do so.
Right. Yep.
And I think that that's exciting.
You mentioned before those humble beginnings, and you got to start somewhere. And what a great place to start.
Well, it's, I mean, you know, like obviously you're in a situation that's not like, you know, you didn't go to college for video production, but this is an opportunity, a place to learn, like through mistakes and through these things, especially while we're growing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have plenty of room for failure. Really, I think all we're asking for is dedication.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're into it, then come do it. All we're asking for is your time. We're not,
Yeah, and you'll get a blessing. I mean, you get a blessing. Anytime you're a part of something like this, I can say that I've only done a few episodes here, but it's really been a big blessing for me. I'm excited about the path and all that's going on with Life to the Full. So just happy to be a part of it in some small way.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and jump into it. What do you say?
Let's do it.
So the big thing now, I guess, is like what's making news headlines is that Kanye is suddenly a converted Christian.
Right.
Just dropped an album, Jesus is King. Excellent title. What's really crazy about this album that he dropped, though, is just kind of the way it was received by the people. It's almost like there was minimal objections. And in an industry where that is so... just not a popular move to make.
Right.
Especially you're going to get a ton of resistance for stuff like that, especially in those crowds.
Oh, yeah.
On top of that, I don't think there were any curse words that were in the song, no profanity, none of that.
No.
He specifically asked his crew that was producing the album to not engage in premarital sex, no profanity while recording it.
Yeah.
And that's just, he took it to the extreme, especially for somebody that appears to be a new convert.
Yeah.
And if you watch a lot of the videos that are coming up, kind of like interviewing him about this stuff, he's always repping something like Jesus is King, verses on there or something, whatever it is.
Yep.
But it almost also comes across in a way, from what I'm seeing, is like they're trying to portray him as kind of crazy too. So you'll see some of these interviews and it's almost like you can tell that they edited out the part where he builds up to the excitement of what he's talking about. Everybody gets excited about Jesus if they know Jesus.
Yeah.
So if he's developing up to this and they cut out that part, they're like, well, what made you do this? And then it jumps to him and he's like, I've been telling you, bro. Like, I've been telling you all this time. Like this. And everybody's just like, dang, he really is a nut. But it's like, you got to watch for those little video edits, those cuts. But I wanted to ask your opinion. So first off, what do you think of it initially? You see this come up. This is a guy who's had a reputation of, the industry that he's in, a lot of profanity. At one point said that he belonged in the Bible, referred to himself as Yeezus.
Yeah.
So what do you portray? Like, what do you see out of this? What's your opinion?
Well, I got a lot of thoughts on this. First off, you make a great point when you talk about his recent conversion, and anybody who knows anything about the world we live in today is that profession of faith in Jesus Christ can be a career killer, basically, is what it becomes. And the world's changed. I remember when I was growing up, everybody was Christian, everybody claimed to be Christian, even those who really hadn't never cracked the cover of a Bible or even been in church, said, well, I'm a believer. That was the accepted norm. That was what was okay. That was the status quo, so to speak. But this day and age, you look at all the changes in policy, and you look at all the changes in people. Look at your television. You turn it on, and you're going to find that there's stuff in there that just wasn't really on our TVs years ago.
Right.
I'm not going to dive into a whole bunch of that, but suffice it to say, many of the things that were taboo or considered to be bad, sinful, whatever word you want to use here, those things are commonplace, and there's been such a bombardment. But the funny thing about that is you bring along somebody who wants to talk about Jesus, and they're the ones who are ostracized. They're the ones who are labeled as freaks and weirdos, and they're called small-minded, and just all of these things come together. But you look at what's going on with Kanye. I don't know Kanye. All I can do is speak about my feelings on the matter. I'm excited about what's going on with Kanye. Where will it end up? Only God knows.
Yeah.
But I do know
soon
that
we will. Or maybe not soon, but eventually.
You mentioned the album, and there's a short film. It's like a 30-minute film or something like that he's produced with his own money. And I was really impressed. There is a website out there called pluggedin.com. And pluggedin.com goes over all the content of books, movies, music, whatever it is, they go over that with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah.
If you're going to go to a theater, some people say they go too far. I don't really think that they do. One thing's for sure, if you're going to listen to an album, buy an album, if you're going to go see a movie in a theater, you look at Plugged In and they'll tell you what to expect. They'll tell you exactly what's going on. Some people say, they go too far. I disagree. And I think they're a branch of Focus on the Family. But nonetheless, I did read the review that they put out there on the movie. And I was shocked. I had heard some of the news. I had heard, Conway's changing. He's a believer now. He's professing Jesus. And I heard he was going to put together a little movie, but I thought, well, it'd be about, me and Jesus. But the thing that really impressed me, and it also impressed the person who was doing the review,
right,
is it reminded me of what John said. John the Baptist said, basically, he must become greater, I must become lesser. The one thing that was absent pretty much from this movie is Kanye West.
Right.
He makes an appearance at the end, but it's in shadows, and there's a scene where he's holding a baby, and they talk about his baby, and it talks about how it just illustrates the love of Father God to all of us. And so, they're saying nothing but good things about it. Got a review. I remember the lady actually said, I think it was a lady, she said that she did not expect to be so powerfully moved when she went in. But when she came out, she said all it did was just lift up the name of Jesus. It was Jesus, 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 and no Kanye.
Yeah.
And that's fruit.
That's for
fruit.
Sure.
And I think about Kanye, and I think about his life, and I think about all the people that he's around.
Yeah.
Wow. Without going into a lot of great detail there, Kanye is in a very, let's call it a hostile environment. He's going to be the one that's going against the grain. In other words, it's like he's taken the road less traveled, or the small, narrow road, as opposed to the wise. And I see it's even started to cause some problems inside the family. But he continues to boldly profess his faith. And so where will it end up? I don't know. But I will say this, hats off to Kanye. He's making a stand.
Right. Well, let me ask you a couple questions. I know I sent these to you earlier just to kind of prep you. Mm-hmm. But in a way, also, these are kind of relevant to the subject. Gotcha. So, obviously, the reason that we're bringing this up is actually, and this is crucial why we tell you comment what you want to hear about, is because I got a message wanting to hear about this topic.
Okay, cool.
And I thought that was super relevant or exciting in a way also. And I know I always say that it's exciting. Well, it is, because we're getting that engagement now, and it is relevant, so it's important that we discuss these things, because people need to be aware, whether you're not Christian or you are, you need to know what to look for, and so that's why I have these questions written down. So the first one I have: why are so many Christians cautious about letting him in?
Well, that to me goes all the way back into the early church, and I think about and this is a really good analogy, I think. You remember when the Apostle Paul, he had a conversion on the road to Damascus, and he's had this powerful conversion, and he loves the Lord, but yet people know his reputation. They know what he's done, and so they automatically they keep their distance. They don't really believe. They think he's got other motives. Whatever the case may be, I'm not calling Kanye West the Apostle Paul. I'm saying it's a similar analogy. Somebody who's made such a dramatic change in their life, it does cause people to question. I don't think there's anything wrong with people questioning, as long as we don't dismiss the fact that something powerful has happened in his life. I think
it's very important that if it's okay to be cautious, but it's not okay to not accept him or be willing to accept this engagement that's coming in, because no matter how you look at it right now with just what Kanye's done, there is zero harm, only good. There is a whole entire generation that is used to hearing anything that isn't some form of gospel.
Right.
And that's all that this album was.
Yeah.
I think it's what's kind of funny about it is that, we look at Scripture and we look at Paul and we look at these people, or even when Jesus was going through, and you hear like, why is Jesus with these people? Like it's like the Pharisees. You look at them like, dang, the Pharisees are bad people. That's obvious. And then you take a self-reflection moment and you're like, well, look at Kanye, look at his past, and it's like you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I want people to know, like, these examples, I've seen some of these posted on Facebook or in other social media sites as well. People talk about this could be a modern day type of Paul. And, the thing about it is don't look at this as he's going to be as wise as Paul was or have the education that Paul did.
And he's a new convert. I
Right.
mean, so who knows what will happen in his life. But I do want to say this. Prior to all of this dramatic change, I was never a Kanye fan.
Right.
I just was not a Kanye fan.
Right.
But I
like
say
some of
that-
his songs. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan either, but I
Yeah.
did really actually enjoy certain ones. But continue.
But here I am now finding myself to be a Kanye fan. So he's going to alienate some folks who just don't want to hear anything about Jesus or anything about the Lord whatsoever. They're automatically going to tune out. But now he has a new platform.
Yeah.
And he's going to be reaching other people that before would not have had an interest. But now they've got this interest. And so it's just an exciting story. Again, we don't always know how this is going to turn out. But I think one thing, too, we need to pray for Kanye.
Absolutely.
Because...
Well, he's under a magnifying glass now.
Oh, yeah.
So any move he makes, if he messes up, it's going to make national headlines. And I want to caution people with this too. When you're praying for him, do not be so quick to judge. Every day we are all failing. So if he messes up, it's almost assured he's going to mess up, and it's almost assured it's going to hit headlines.
It's amazing how, we want mercy and grace.
But don't want to extend it.
Yeah, we want to see other people with judgment. And it's sad that folks can be like that, but it seems to be the case a lot of times.
It's just, honestly, it's pretty scary. But let's keep rolling real quick. So, number 2, how do we determine if he's genuine with this? And
that's a good question.
It is.
It really is. And there's no way to tell for sure.
At least not now.
It takes time.
Exactly.
But, the Bible tells us, Jesus talked about, the parable of the sower. He talked about there was 4 different types of ground. And, some did spring up quickly. Some were on fire for a moment, but they didn't have any root. Well, as we know, the good seed that fell on good soil, basically it produced a fruit that remains. The Bible says that you'll know a tree by its fruit, and that we're to produce fruit that remains.
Yeah.
So, you just have to watch this. You just have to be excited about it. You have to pray for him. And you have to watch the fruit. Will the fruit remain? Will it continue? Will he stay strong? Is he good soil? Those are things that we don't know necessarily, but we do know. Sorry about that. We do know how to look and how to watch. But again, praying for him, just loving on him, praying for him, that's really important.
Right. Well, I think another thing I kind of want to cover that I had specifically that was asked is this, and this is, I kind of want to answer this one too in a way, and this is one thing I've noticed. People have asked, is this a modern day false prophet, whatever, and I didn't think so, and here's why I say that.
Right.
Because even if it is, like, there's no need for a Christian necessarily to be concerned, because everything he does, line it up to the Word of God.
Exactly.
Whatever he's saying, that's why it's important to be in the Scriptures constantly. I remember Proverbs talks about if you quit learning something, you will eventually forget what you've already learned. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's important to constantly be renewing your mind.
Oh, yeah.
But, so always challenge it against the Bible and Scripture.
False prophet, that's kind of a extreme.
It is.
Here's a guy who's had a dramatic conversion in his life, and all that we can really do is just follow that. And I'm so thankful that's happened, because he's got such a huge platform.
Yes.
Can reach so many people that other people could never reach.
Yeah. Well, I think it's what's really interesting about it is that like you said, the extreme level to which he's taken it.
Oh, yeah.
So, gone, basically stepped away from an industry. He's still like in that industry, but separated himself from it.
Right.
Hosting regular, what he refers to as Sunday services. out in the public streets,
Right.
To massive crowds, which I'm not even sure are people that would have been celebrating Christ until this point. He has probably opened the door to a lot of people. And one thing that I want to caution everyone against in a way too is that it is going to take time, like you said, and it's all based on bearing fruit, but growing a tree takes time.
Yeah.
And, the reason that I think this is such a big deal is just because of the platform and the stage that he's built up to this point.
Yeah.
So, he's already going to be criticized by media, those in the industry. You stay away from doing it. Mm-hmm. Trust me, there's no reason to attack it. None of that. Just leave it as is. Judge everything that he's saying based against the Word of God, but don't judge him. He's in a place now where I think that he knows the influence that he's making. Mm-hmm. He's taken a lot of risks. And in that situation, you would want grace and mercy, especially stepping away from that lifestyle. So I think that there's a lot of things he's probably going to battle with. Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to be a lot of mental things. And I think we've learned also that Kanye is very strong-willed. Yeah. So I don't see him stepping away from this long term. Maybe you'll start to see his influence fade because it's not popular in the industry. Right. It probably won't be national news all the time or whatever. But at the same point, I think that the moves he's making right now are so dramatic and so drastic. You literally see, the Spirit of God being poured out on all flesh.
Yeah. And, here's another point, too. We talk about the critics. We talk about people who have all these different views and the things that they're saying and their responses to this news. But here's my question to the believers. Yes. Those that are call themselves believers. He's taken the gospel to the world. So before you become critical, I would ask you, in what ways are you sharing Jesus with those around you?
Yeah. Are you taking the risks? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because being a Christian, and we do have it in America, especially in the Bible Belt region, we're in the southern states. You're not going to face as much persecution. That's the blessing that you have. Mm-hmm. So whatever is holding you back from doing it, there are people that literally know they're putting their entire lives at the risk just to share the gospel. Absolutely. I mean, they have families at home knowing that what they're saying to someone else could be taken to their governments or to certain individuals, and they would have them killed. They would literally, we definitely, of all people, should not be scared. You're going to face persecution. Probably the worst thing you're going to face is, somebody just yelling at you or being like, get that crap out of here or whatever, this and that.
Well, we're talking about his influence and his career and all the effects it has on that. In the same way that it applies to us. Yeah. We have a circle of friends. We have a circle of influence. We have places where we work. We have people that we know. We have the same risks. Yes. If we share the gospel, there's a good chance that a large number of those will no longer wish to be in that circle. And it's really the same thing. Yeah. Now, Kanye's could impact on a greater scale financially and things of that nature, but we have that exact same thing. He's basically dealing with what every Christian deals with. Yeah.
Well, kind of one of the last questions I guess I'll ask. We see and know the potential this has against his finances, everything. Mm-hmm. It's already causing problems within his family. At least that's what we're hearing. We don't know for a fact, but we would assume that that's part of it. Right. What else other than faith in God or God moving within him would cause a man to sacrifice everything? Do you know what I mean? This is not popular. This may make a quick spike in money because people are interested, and now he's pulled in another crowd, that Christian crowd, but it's not going to last, and I think that he has the opportunity to transition into something else, maybe still being in music, staying in the music industry, but I think that you're going to see Kanye long-term shift away from that himself. I don't think as much as he'll be pushed out of it, more him moving with God away from it.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing some of that now. Yeah. I think that these projects and these things are not on the scale, if you will, of the things he's done in the past. He's putting himself into it 100%. By scale, I mean it's a completely different activity for him. He's not raising himself up. He's raising up the name of Jesus.
Yeah.
And so I'm just excited for Kanye. But to get back to your point there, your question, there's nothing else that will sustain it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing else in the world that's going to help anyone to sustain. I think about the disciples and so many followers. They professed faith right up to death, and often we're not talking about death in a bed. We're talking about martyrdom, crucifixion,
persecution,
stoning. And that would be the time, if what you're talking about isn't real, to say, okay, hold up. I was doing this for this reason or for that reason. I don't want to die for that.
Right.
But none of those disciples ever denied their faith, and so many others that we read about in the wonderful pages of the Bible. But here's the thing: we'll follow Kanye.
Right.
We'll see if he continues, regardless of what sort of backlash this creates. If he continues to remain strong and remain in the faith, I'm excited. Again, I know I've said that several times, but we live in a world where that profession of faith is not popular, and to have somebody with such a huge platform, so many people that he has an opportunity to speak to and to reach, what if one was saved?
Yeah.
What if one person made a decision for Christ? And we can even think, given the size of the platform, what if hundreds or thousands or millions? And so I support 100%. Before this, I wasn't a Kanye fan. But today I can say I'm a Kanye fan. I like what's going on in his life. I support it 100%. I'll be praying for him. Definitely he has a tough road ahead of him, especially in some of the circles and family that he has. And so we'll see how that plays out. But I'm just hoping that he stays strong, stays in there, continues to profess his faith, gets stronger, and starts to draw more people. Maybe revival comes out of it. Maybe the youth. He reaches so many young people, says, enough's enough. There's truth in this. I recognize this. I want what he's got. And I just hope, I just pray that Kanye continues. I pray for strength. I pray for protection. I pray that the Lord would just love on him and minister to him, and that he would continue to be strong and reach the world for Jesus Christ.
For sure. Well, I think it's a great opportunity to kind of follow along with where God's moving.
Oh, yeah.
So, obviously, like he's saying, the younger generation, like right now, you're seeing a lot of things pour out. I just bought my ticket today for it's called Passion 2020. Mm-hmm. It's going to be held in Atlanta through New Year's, and it's a collection of 18 to 25-year-olds. I highly recommend that if you can go. If you're between the ages of 18 and 25.
So, I probably shouldn't go.
You might refrain from participating. But, be excited about what's going on. There's clearly, obviously, things that are happening in today's world.
Yeah.
Great, powerful movement. The technology is at an all-time high. Intelligence is at an all-time high. Mm-hmm. You have the capabilities to reach more people than ever before. Mm-hmm. So what we have to remember is that if you lose friends pursuing something like this, there's no thing you can risk or lose that God will not return to you in 100-fold.
Yes.
And it may, honestly, there's a chance it could possibly not be in this life, mm-hmm. Depending on what it is, but you will always be rewarded for your works.
Oh, absolutely.
And
that's, ironically, that's the end of the parable of the sower. It produced a crop, some
exactly.
30, some 60, some 100-fold. So it multiplies back. God is a God of multiplication, and I just love that. He takes what we have, whether it's loaves, fishes, or a platform like this, and he magnifies that. It goes out. Here we sit in this little room, and we're working on a podcast, but this will go out across the airwaves, and it'll be into people's homes. So we just give him what little we've got and let him multiply.
Exactly. Which is why we ask you to share it.
Yes, share.
Just hit the share button. Honestly, if I have to sit here and beat it down people's skulls, I'm going to start the episode with share and subscribe and like and this stuff, because it's going to help get the word out. So if you want,
let me approach it from this point for you. If you like what Kanye's doing, if you're proud of the fact that he's put his faith out there, that he's doing something that appears to be for the Lord, and you say hats off to Kanye, why don't you do it?
boom,
Why don't you share? Why don't
boom,
you share?
boom.
Share something here, and do what he's doing. Maybe on a smaller scale, but you don't have to spend millions, produce an album, produce a movie. All you got to do is click.
And don't live in comparison either. You're not Kanye. You're not held to whatever outreach that Kanye has. Yours could be more, it could be less, and whatever it is, you're doing your part by simply sharing.
You're doing what he's doing.
Right, exactly. So you can always do more. It's going to take you 2 clicks to share this. And so, you can always do more, but you're doing a significant amount by just sharing it. We want to wrap this up, obviously. We don't want to take up too much time. I think we're already at the 30-minute mark. So, basically, that's really about it. We want to start covering more topics like this relevant to today. We love sharing those things that matter, like the praise series that you did, discussing honor, discussing association. Those things are very important. But there are topics like this today that, is cause division between Christians. You got an older generation that might be a little more away from this, where they're kind of like, no, Kanye's already done bad. He's gone, set in stone, this and that. And it's like, are you really Christian if you're not going to be...
Let him who is without sin cast the first stone.
Boom. I gotta say that. Wait, that's just crazy. Well, let's start covering stuff too in the future that would just be totally crazy. Like, did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself, or did that actually happen?
Yeah, that may be going out on a limb there.
All right, I know that's a little too controversial, but I have my opinions.
Yeah,
right. But yeah, no, I'm not a crazy conspiracy theorist. Maybe. I haven't decided that yet. It just depends on what's going on.
But, he makes a good point. Relevant topics, things that you're interested in. Throw that stuff in the comments. We'll be happy to wade right in there and get
you don't even
our
have to
opinion.
do it in the comments. Send it to me in a message. That's how I got this other one. You don't have to be scared to talk to me. I actually am very, I think, friendly.
Yeah.
You may find otherwise, and if you do, I apologize.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. So we're excited with where this is going. Don't forget to grab your merch.
Merch.
Just shoot me a message. We don't have an official website where you can buy it yet. That's what the team's for. Get behind the scenes. Help us out. I'm saying shoot me a message.
Yes.
This has been Life to the Full, episode 10. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks.